Welcome in, I'm Artress, and in this video we're going to be revisiting Yellow Katakuri, an old leader from OP03 that says Dawn ×1 when attacking, look at up to one life card from the top of you or your opponent's life area and put it at either the top or bottom of the life area. Then this leader gains 1000 power for this battle. Why are we revisiting this leader right now? Well, there's a really interesting yellow package for the Thriller Bark Pirates that we got for Black Yellow Moria, and it works quite well in a lot of yellow decks. So for this video, I wanted to test that package out because I think it's rather strong. With Katakuri, he has historically been an aggro style deck where people don't really realize it, but of course when you're attacking into him, potentially getting bodies out of life is really game changing. And of course, when you do have lots of triggers that can bring those bodies out, especially with the Thriller Bark Pirates package, it's going to be worth playing this leader as a result. But before we go over the deck list, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that sub button and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. It helps out the channel so much. Thank you all for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, please make sure to join the Discord community. The link for that is in the description below. So with this list, I'm just trying to maximize the amount of yellow slop we have because of the fact that I said a lot of the triggers we have are bringing bodies out. If you're unfamiliar with the Thriller Bark Pirates package does, a lot of the Thriller Bark Pirates have the ability to bring out cards from the trash that are 4 cost or lower. They come in rested, of course, but a lot of them have on KO effects that can kind of change the game state or cause your opponent to make some interesting decisions. So starting off, I'm running a playset of the 2K counter Kumasi. This has the trigger of playing one Thriller Bark Pirates type character card with the cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. You're going to see this quite a lot with different characters, so I would just try to quickly mention it when we do come across those, but this of course is one of the 2K counters that is a part of the Thriller Bark Pirates package. Then I'm running a playset of Beige, just a great card to stack at the last life to be able to prevent your opponent from going for lethal when they think they have it, so of course we're running it at 4 of to be able to see it more often. Then we have a playset of Absalom. It's a 3 cost 5000 power character that on KO looks at the top 3 cards of your deck and reveals one Thriller Bark Pirates type card and adds it to your hand. Then you place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. The trigger, of course, is the same trigger, being able to bring out a rested 4 cost Thriller Bark Pirates character from your trash. Then we're running 4 of the Kikunojo 4 cost 6000 power character. On KO, if your opponent's life is at 3 or less, place the top card of your deck to the top of your life. And then the trigger is if your opponent's life is at 3 or less, play this card. Once again, a great card to come out of life. This is one that causes your opponent to make some interesting decisions because they don't want to further prolong the game against you. They are going to likely ignore this card. But of course, they are going to try to protect their life as well in the process because they don't want to be at that 3 life threshold where this might come out of life and then cause them further harm. If your opponent is protecting their life pretty vehemently, then you can also play the Basil Hawkins on 4. So this way, your opponent is further de-incentivized from trying to get rid of your board, because if they do KO this card, they trash 1 card from the top of their life in the process. The trigger is draw 2, trash 1, so you can pitch cards like this Absalom, which are dead in hand otherwise, and then as a result, you can bring it out with some potential triggers. Next, we have a playset of Hogback. On KO, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less and a trigger other than Hogback from your trash, and then the trigger, of course, is bringing out a Thriller Bark Pirates character that is 4 or less from your trash rested. One of the better options in the Thriller Bark Pirates package is the 4 cost Perona. On play and on KO, up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. A great way to get some tempo back, especially if your opponent starts establishing a pretty wide board. The trigger, of course, is as we've seen with all the other ones, play up to 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. Then I'm playing a playset of Nami here, just being able to KO a card that is 5 cost or less on the opponent's side of the field by trashing a card with trigger from your hand. So you are able to fill up your trash with some Thriller Bark Pirates characters if you're unable to do so naturally with like countering out or whatever it may be. This card can help facilitate what you're trying to do here. Also in the same vein of trying to fill up your trash, you have the 6 cost Kuma, which is a non-play, trash 1 card from your hand and add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. It gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's turn, so it can't be Gravity Blade the turn after it's played, which is really nice. And of course, on the opponent's turn on KO, you get to heal from this ability. Then it wouldn't be the Thriller Bark Pirates package without the 8 cost 10,000 power Moria from OP14. On play, you can play 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash, or add it to the top of your life cards face up. The trigger is play up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. It doesn't have to be Thriller Bark Pirates, and it doesn't come in rested. So you can play Kikunojo, you can play the Basil Hawkins, and they don't come in rested, so you at least have 1 extra attacker with that trigger. And then, of course, it would be Katakuri without the 10 cost Big Mom. We're running a playset of these. This is still one of the best 10 cost in the game. Unfortunately, you don't have a way to search it out in this game, but what you're trying to do is you're just trying to really just swarm the board with all these small swings, causing your opponent to counter out of a lot of hits, and then you can follow up with the 10 cost Big Mom once you eventually draw into it. This card is just so strong. Being able to heal and then trash one of your opponent's lives, something we just don't see very often anymore. 10 costs that are just incredibly game-breaking. This one, of course, has been great since it's come out in OP03 and continues to be really strong. It is leader locked, of course, so that's why we don't see it in other yellow decks, but we do have other similar effects as of right now with the 9 cost Boa Hancock. Of course, this one being better because of the fact that it has more power, and on top of that, trashes the opponent's life, which is just an insane thing to think about in general. And then we have the 0 cost event, which I said beige was probably one of the best things to put at the last thing in your life, but the 0 cost event is the best thing to put into the last part of your life because, of course, the trigger says if you have 0 life cards, put the top card of your deck onto your life pile and then trash 1 card from your hand. So you're actually nullifying 1 attack with this card. You're often able to see this pretty consistently because of the fact that you can peek at the top of your life when you're using your leader ability. If you're not going against a yellow deck, I just look at my own life. If you're going against a yellow deck, I usually just look at their life instead. And if this card isn't able to be put at the bottom, so be it. But more times than not, you're not going to be facing yellow decks every round. So, of course, you can just look at your life and then stack this accordingly. And then finally, I'm running 2 of the 200 million volts Amaru. It has a main up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Then if your life is 1 card or less, rest up to one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 4 or less. Sometimes your opponent has really annoying blockers, like maybe 4 cost Marco, or against Emu, you have, I don't know, what is it? The War thing? I forget his name, but War Curie, I think is his name. You can rest that thing that it draws a card on KO. So you bypass them having to draw a card, which is nice. And the trigger is you may trash 2 cards from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So just an additional way to fill up your trash, but also heal in the same process. So as you can see, there's a lot of ways to really prolong the game by healing, staying alive, and then being really annoying with your triggers. Once again, though, this is not necessarily a game-breaking deck. It's not one that I would expect to see in any metagame. It's one that you could probably take to a local, have a lot of fun with. This is a deck that I just kind of threw together really quickly to see how the Thriller Bark Pirates package works outside of just black, yellow Moria. And Katakuri is a great way to at least be strong in this meta where you are playing against potentially lots of yellow Luffys, potentially lots of Boa Hancocks, and being able to prevent those decks from really getting their triggers off by stacking their life whenever you swing is really good ability overall. So as a result, I think Katakuri is worth trying out. We're going to test this list out in the sim though and see how it does in the meantime. What better way to test out the Thriller Bark Pirates package than against the deck that it was made for, Black Yellow Moria. I'm just going to keep this hand because of the fact that I have a 3 into a potential 5. I could also play a 4 cost and swing into their life. So we have options is the point, and I think that's pretty important here. Of course, we're going to swing 5 just to begin with. Hopefully not get a trigger, but who knows? Maybe there is going to be a trigger here. Usually if you pitch a card into the trash as Moria, you're going to likely take the first life. At least when I play it, that's what I kind of do, just to see if I can high roll and get a card out of the trash. And that's exactly what they're doing as well. And they are high rolling, getting that hog back out. It is what it is, but at least we can get a body in the process. Maybe if they swing 5 here with the hog back, we can easily just pitch, I don't know. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because we don't have anything that we can really bring out if there is a trigger in life. Oh well, unlucky here. They are playing the hogback to, I don't know if they have anything they can, do they have enough in trash? Oh, they do. They played the Sindri the first turn, of course, duh. They can bring something back with this hogback, which is pretty nice. And then this next turn, we have the option of at least cleaning up their board a little bit. They grab the PRB02 Gecko, which is the 6 cost one, so at least we know that they're going to go kind of wide here. They're using the ability to pitch the Sindri and swinging a couple of 6s. We'll go ahead and just pitch the Kumasi, and then I think we'll just take this next one. I don't think we want to give them a 0 cost event or dump 2 1Ks. Unlucky here, but it is what it is. I think I want to fill up my trash a little bit more. I think I want to get this Absalom in the trash, so I kind of want to play the Nami out. So we're going to swing into the hogback here, seeing if we can get rid of it. They're happy to do so, and they bring out the Sindri. Don't really care about the blocker. In fact, I think I just want to play the Kiku Nojo if I can, because they're at 3 life. We see the Kumasi there. We're going to put that to the bottom and hope that they don't have another trigger. And then we can pitch the Absalom with a 0 cost event if we need to. We don't have to play the Nami this turn. I kind of want to like prevent them from getting too many triggers. They did get a trigger, but it wasn't one that at least puts a body on the board, which is nice. They pitched a Boa Hancock, which is a little bit scary, meaning they probably have another one ready to go at some point. And then here, if they decide to go after the board, I think I just let the Absalom go. I don't mind that at all. It puts the Absalom in trash, and then I can potentially bring it back out if I get some good triggers here. 5 into lead. I'm just going to go ahead and give him a hog back here just to put something in the trash that is Thriller Bark Pirates. And then a 6 into lead likely. I'll have to let that one go. I don't want to give him a 0 cost event quite yet, especially since I just put a Thriller Bark Pirate into the trash here. So 6 into 5, easy enough. Let's go ahead and take this one. Are they using the ability though? That might be something they're considering right now. They only have a hog back in trash. They are using it. Okay. Interesting to see. I don't fault them for that. They actually filled up their trash pretty well. Let's go ahead and use this Gecko Moria ability to bring out a hogback just so we can fill up our board in the process because they're getting a little bit wide as well. We have an option to do either a couple things. We could play, first off, let's go ahead and just swing into the board, get rid of like this hogback. Both of them if we can. I don't mind something else coming out. They might freeze the Kikunojo with a Perona, so be it. But I think what we can do is we could go really wide with an Absalom or Absalom and a hogback, or we could just like pop something. We have a couple options, point being. Let's swing the Absalom into this hogback. They'll probably let it go and then freeze like the Kikunojo, I would imagine. And then from there, we could probably just swing into life, see what they have. Maybe not. We could probably KO this with the Nami, actually. I think that's fine. Yeah, this is probably a good use of us using the Nami. We have so many options, which is really nice. We'll go ahead and swing 7, peep at their life, see what they have. They can have that one. That's not a trigger. We're not really too concerned with that. They'll take it, and then we can play out the Nami, pitching out the Absalom in the process, and also drawing a card. Getting a 10-cost Big Bomb, love to see that. And then the Absalom, of course, is in trash, so we can bring it out if we do get a nice little trigger here. Them being on 8 means they probably have the 8-cost Moria. They are seeing a pretty good curve if that's the case. They went 4 into 6 into 8. But of course, they might not have it. Some opponents, don't see it. It feels like when I'm playing this deck, when I'm playing Moria, I don't see it. So I don't know. We'll see if they have it. They do have it. Okay, so good for them. Opponent is seeing what they need. We like to see a little bit of good competition in our gameplay here. Now, something to consider, they might pop this Perona to prevent another unit from attacking. And that's a pretty good play overall, I think. That's fine. I think that's actually a pretty good play if they want to do that. But of course, freezing the Kikunojo is also solid as well. Akuma is not an awful option to get with that 7 cost swinging into us. I don't think they're going to use their ability, though. I think they want to keep everything on the field. And they might just swing 5 into lead. And if that's the case, we could pitch a hog back, just putting it out onto the field. Or at least, putting it into the trash is another option to bring out. They're using their ability again. Okay, they're healing back up to 3 life, pitching some more cards. Inupe is an interesting one to see. Let's go ahead and give him the hog back, and then what we can do is just kind of play really aggressive, because we don't really have too many options. We could heal up with the Kuma, I think is fine. Putting a Perona into the trash is good. Dividing our Dawn up, let's swing 5 into lead, and then we could go like a 5-7-7. We could also go like 5-5-5, and then swing really big into the 6-cost Moria if they decide to block. They're just countering out of stuff, which is great. We love to see that. We want them to be at a low hand size. So yeah, let's go ahead and just swing 5 into lead. See if they give us a block. If they block, I'm going to 100% turn my attention into the 6-cost Moria, but let's see if we can bait it out in the meantime. No trigger. Love to see that. We'll go 5 into lead again. I imagine they might want to give us a counter if this was a countered card. It is a 2K. Okay, love to see that. And then here, since we are going to trash a life with the 10 cost, I kind of want to put them at a low life total, but I think what we could do is just swing 9 into the 6-cost Moria. We could peep at our life in the process, and then see what we get. 0. Oh my gosh, what? It was like it was like I knew it was coming. I don't know. That was actually a really great use of us looking at our own life, because now we know that we're at least safe if they decide to go for any kind of lethal here. Oh man, that was insane. Just great. I've been looking at their life the entire time, and the one time I look at my life, it's a 0-cost event. It's almost like it's scripted. So here, this next turn, I imagine they're probably just going to go full aggro at face. They're going to probably ignore the board here. 9-cost Boa Hancock. I should have expected that to come down. Yeah, makes sense. And then they might just try to go for lethal here. That's a little bit scary if that's the case, but we obviously have the 0-cost event to protect us, so we just need to get out of one of these hits. So with the Perona coming down or swinging first with the 6, they might go for the board, but I imagine they might want to just try to like test the waters. Okay, they're going to go for the board. At least get rid of the Nami to prevent an extra swing from happening, and they don't lose anything in this process. And they can still threaten to push me down to 0 with, swinging 6, 8, 11. There's also potential for this like life on top to be a body. So that's something to think about. Here they're just going to swing 6. They're freezing the the Kikunojo, which they've been freezing it the entire game. Unlucky that it has not been able to swing. It is what it is, though. Here, I think I just want to take these hits. I'm going to try to push for game this next turn, and I want to get these triggers out if I can. Let's go ahead and use the Moria trigger to bring out Hogback. And then we have a pretty wide board, pretty nice here. We'll go ahead and use this ability to pitch. Doesn't really matter what. I guess Perona is probably our best option, just in case we can bring it out. And then they're going to swing 11 again. They're not going to be able to close out the game here, but they can put us to 0. And it's another 0-cost event. Okay, lovely. Love to see that. Wow, interestingly enough. That gives us a little bit more leeway here, but I think I want to just... We have a couple of options here. They have 3 life. It's going to be kind of a little bit difficult to pressure through. But let's at least swing 5 to begin with and see if they take this 5. If they take the 5, then it's usually likely that the rest of the hits will connect through based off of what they draw off of life. They did take that 5, which means that probably one of those cards is at least a brick. And one of them is a trigger to bring out Brickbat, which could bring out a Perona, freezing a Kuma, which, yeah, that sucks. But that also means that since they took that 1/5, they might take another 5, because this last card could be a brick. And it seems like it is. Based off of that, it seems like it is. So let's also prevent any kind of trigger from happening for this last life. Another Brickbat. Okay. I see you. Interesting. Do they have another Perona to freeze the Absalom? That'd be insane. What is it going to be? What is it going to be? What is their best option? It doesn't look like they have another Perona, so that's actually pretty solid for us. Hogback. Okay. Hogback it is to probably grab a 2K, I would imagine. We do have the option of swinging 7 into lead. They grabbed a Sindri from that 2K. I'm just going to play the Big Mom because, you know, style points, why not? And it was something that would have like brought another body out. So yeah, we'll swing 5 here, knowing that there's a 2K, and then likely this last card was a brick anyway. So we'll test it and see if it actually is a brick. It likely is. It is. So we read them pretty well. And we also had beige as the last life. What were our triggers were insane. I always think that purple Doffy in this set at least is like a kind of a litmus test at how a deck does. I think that purple Doffy is really strong, but it also is one that kind of lets other decks do what it wants in a sense. Like you can play your characters out. There's not too many KO abilities here. You can usually fill up your board how you want. So I like going against purple Doffy to test out if a deck is strong or not. We're going to go ahead and just take this hit because we don't have a 2K to counter out of. We could have done 2 1Ks, but I don't really want to do that this early. And then here what we can do is... Kikunojo is not the worst. It's not the worst. I think we could just play the Kikunojo down just to have a big body. Like a 6K body is pretty nice. And yeah, if they swing into it, we don't get to heal off of it. Not a big deal. Here on 5... I'm tempted usually as Doffy to play out Virgo on 5, but we don't always see that happen. Here's a good use of just pitching a 1K Perona so we can fill up our trash with Thriller Bark Pirates so that we could potentially get triggers going. Rosie's pretty solid, but also Rosie will be going down this next turn, so what we can end up doing is just swing 6 at lead. They might redirect into the Sugar. That's an option for them. I don't like it, but that's an option. They also might want to like redirect into the Rosie, give a 1K. Regardless, I don't think redirecting right now is the best use of their turn. Okay, so Kumasi being a top life there, we'd love to see that. It means Perona will be coming out eventually. And then here what we'll do is we'll play the 5-cost Nami and then pitch the 0-cost event, getting rid of the Rosie. And then they might be tempted, like I said, to swing into the Kikunojo, just because like if they get rid of it, I'm not healing in the process. That's a good use of their turn at least. So they are using the Sugar to find... What is this? Another Sugar? It's the 4-cost Sugar. Okay, so interesting to see. Swinging 7 into the Kikunojo, I'll just give them a 2K. If they're playing a Sugar, they should have just swung 8. Oh, okay, so they're wanting to play a Dellinger out as well. Makes sense. Understandable. Have a nice day. We'll swing 5 in a lead here. We're just trying to, if we can, get them down to 3 life so that the Kikunojo is able to really apply some pressure. So 7 into 5 might be a redirect at this point. And then what we can do is then play the Kuma. Playing the Kuma will heal 1, and then we can see what that life is with the heal. So we'll pitch a Kuma in the process, swing 7, Perona's okay. I mean, yeah, it brings out a Perona, right? So yeah, it's fine. That's actually a pretty solid option. They're probably just trying to go for the board though. Most of the time, purple Doffy likes to play for the board. They're countering out because I think they just want to get rid of this Kikunojo and not have me heal in the process, which I see a lot of opponents do, to be quite honest. Here would be a really good 10-cost play. The 10-cost could come down and freeze 2 of these units from attacking the next turn. They could also KO the Kuma if they want to, but I don't think that's probably what they want to do. They might want to wait 1 turn, so that way they can at least freeze all 3 of these units from attacking. Sugar will probably grab... I mean, if they need a counter, it'll grab a counter. If they need 10 cost at this point, they can grab the 10 cost. This peak is pretty solid. but I don't think it's their best play to bring out on the Doffy, but you know what? It is fine. We'll give this Nami up. It's not a big deal. We need the Kuma at least to prolong the game a little bit more if that's the case. We are on 10, so we'll do what Katakuri does on 10. Playing Big Mom. We'll go 5 into the sugar. Is this the best use of our swing? There's a chance that they could redirect it like into the 4-cost sugar. I think that's probably what they're going to do. Oh, into lead. They want to take a life. Oh no, maybe they want to like... I was going to say, they always have 2 open. That usually means slow beam, so they're going to redirect it into their life, resting the Kuma. We'll go 6 into that sugar, and then we're going to cause them to lose a Virgo in the process, and then go down to 3 life for them. If they want to get rid of my board, it means I heal 2 in the process, and then have a bunch of triggers potentially come out in the meantime. So we love to see that. What sucks about this, though? Okay, Absalom getting a nice little trigger from Perona. And then the Absalom being in trash is pretty good because that means if we have more triggers, which we know we do, then the Absalom is able to bring those out. We'll go ahead and, if they're swinging into the Perona, we'll prevent the sugar from attacking, not that it really would. And then here is the 10 cost to, freeze the Kikunojo and the Kuma from attacking. Yep, that's fine. That's good for us. And then here, we're not like in a great spot. We're like low on hand size, and if we turn this Linlin sideways, there's a chance that they might just go really big into it, and I can't protect that if that's the case. But we'll go ahead and just swing into this Doffy. We have a Linlin on top, which is nice, so at least we have another one if this one goes down. They might be tempted to redirect this into the sugar, or they might give us a 2K. At this point, when we have Big Moms trashing life, it's fine to just focus on board in the meantime, so that way they're not getting any life in the process. I kind of like to play Katakuri that way. Some people like to just be as aggressive as possible. Reading their hand, 2 1Ks pitch from that. I don't think we swing. I think we force them to swing into us. That way we get the 10 cost Big Mom as a backup, 10 cost Big Mom, and then we have potentially some triggers coming out in the meantime as well. So yeah, I think it's fine to just not swing at this point, force them to like start swinging into our life because of the fact that we're at 6. Turn 7, 6 life. And they haven't even gotten rid of the Kikunojo or the Kuma, so that's just like how good it is to go against Purple Doffy because of the fact that we can just, easily do things like this. We're going to go ahead and give them a Perona, 1K counter. Yeah, they're just trying to be aggressive now because they realize like, oh, we can't really answer the board, so we kind of have to push lethal, which they don't really want to do either. It really sucks for them to have to make those decisions, of course. Yep, here's the 8 into lead. I imagine they're just going to leave 2 open. We're going to go ahead and play the Perona out to play out the Absalom if they want to give us a card draw or potential cert. If they want to give us the card draw or the potential search, that's great. And we whiff. It is what it is. Sometimes you whiff. Oftentimes you don't with that, though. We'll go ahead and play the Kumasi to get the Absalom right back out. So yeah, we're in a good spot here. I think we just focus the board if we can. We're going to swing the Big Mom first. Actually, it's a really awkward thing to do. I think we swing the Absalom into the sugar first, so that way they don't redirect. Actually, let's swing the Kuma into it first, because if they redirect into anything, it's a little bit awkward. They can't redirect into their leader and then do the slow beam play that they did earlier. Now we know they have 1 card in hand. Let's go ahead and swing into this Doffy. This will be a redirect into anything other than this one, I would imagine. If I were them, I might want to redirect into life, but also it's really risky. It's really risky if they redirect into life because of the fact that I have all these swings coming, and I'm also going to play a 10 cost this turn. Bullet String, pretty decent option there. What we can do is guarantee to get this, well, not guarantee per se, because they still have the redirect. So we'll go 6 into the Pika. Hopefully this goes down. And then from here, we can just swing at their face and really pressure them. Just pressure them down to 0. And hope that they don't have the baby 5, the thing that heals them if they redirect into it. I think that's what it is. Swing 5 into lead here. They give us a 1K. We'll swing 7 into lead, and then we will use the Big Mom to get rid of that last life. I think we just play over the Absalom. Okay, so they're going to redirect. Okay, that's fine. Totally understandable. We'll get rid of the baby 5, and then that's awesome to see that we got rid of a baby 5 there, so they didn't have that as a potential play this turn. I don't know what they do. If they try to go for game, like, they don't have enough attacks. Dellinger doesn't really do too much. They're at 0 cards in hand. Maybe they're just going to answer the board in this process. I don't know. 7 into 6. I think I'm just going to let this go and heal back up. They might go for the board. Yeah, they might just go for the board here. If we get another 10 cost Big Mom, we're in a pretty good spot. We also could just like swing really big into their leader, force them to redirect. The Dellinger there is kind of a pain. The Dellinger there means that they're going to redirect something, and they get a card in the process. 10 into 7. We'll just let this one go. We'll heal up. I mean, we can't protect any of these. They're reading our hand pretty well. Another 10 into 7, and then this is going to be a 13 into 10. Once again, we can't let this go, and we've healed up to 7. 7 life is pretty good here. 13 into 10. Yep, we'll take that one. And we drew into just the card we needed. Okay, 10 cost Big Mom to trash the last life. We'll swing 5 into lead here. They're going to have to redirect into the Dellinger, and then from there, they can't defend the 10 cost Big Mom. So, yeah, that's a unfortunate situation, and we had so many insane triggers to see. We had all of these Kumasi, Moria, Kikunojo, Beige, into, oh my gosh, every life was a trigger. We had 8 life. 8 triggers. All right, into Emu, I'm going to take second away from them because I do not want them to hit the 5 Elders into 5 Elders into 5 Elders into 5 Elders. So, I mean, they're still going to do that, but at least it's delayed by a turn now. So here, our hand is okay. We have some really annoying cards for them to deal with. Getting rid of Basil Hawkins means they lose a life in the process. Kikunojo likely will be down if they are going to be at 4. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and just pitch out the Hogback because we want to put the Hogback in life. It's annoying that we have to do that with a 0-cost event, but hey, we're going to stay at 5. And then this turn, do we just hit the gas? I think what we do is we swing 5. If they take the 5, we play the Hawkins. Or sorry, if they take the 5, we play the Kikunojo. If they don't take the 5, we play the Hawkins. So they're grabbing the never existed 1-cost event. Solid counter event there. And then, yeah, the thing here is all of our bodies, if they get rid of our bodies, is really annoying for them to have to deal with because of the fact that our bodies either heal, they trash, or they bring more bodies out. So this might be a matchup where, well, this Nami is definitely going to be dead unless they are, you know, not hitting 7 and trash. But this is a matchup where it's just going to be a nuisance for Emu to have to deal with. So here, because they didn't take that life, I'm going to play the Hawkins down and then pass the turn. And then hopefully we get a nice little trigger to have an additional swing. Here they go 6 into 5. I might want to give them a 2K just because I want to be able to stack the top life. So yeah, we'll just give them the Kumasi. And then here they're using the stage to play out War Curie. So War Curie being able to block and draw in the process, leaving 1 open here. Let's go ahead and just swing 5 to begin with. And maybe I should have checked their trash first, but I think that they're a blocker at this point. They have 7 in trash. Here, we're just going to go 7 into 5. And they give us I think they thought we were swinging for 6. Maybe they're unfamiliar with Katakuri. Sometimes it's like that when you play older leaders. But yeah, they took the life. Now we're free to throw this Kikunojo down. And if they play out the 6-cost blocker that KOs a base 5-cost, then we heal off the Kikunojo. Or if they do it against the Hawkins, then they trash a life. Or if they get rid of both, we trash a life and heal in the process. Sure, we don't have a board. Sure, that sucks. But man, that feels good. So we'll see what they do, though. I think that might not be the best play for them. Maybe they want to play, I don't know, a War Curie, and then also maybe, is it Saturn, so that they have 2 bodies on the field. Looks like they're just going to go 7 into 5. We'll trash a life happily. We'll easily do that. They also don't really care too much either because of the fact that, well, okay. They're playing the Mars. They're going to heal us up. We're losing out here. But they also don't care about trashing life because of the fact that they want their trash to be pretty full. This is a really tough turn. We have nothing really great to play. I guess we could play out this Nami. We're just going to use the effect to draw. Not KO anything. And then here, what we're just going to do is swing 9 into lead, force them to block. We'll put the 0-cost event at the bottom. And then hopefully, I mean, they block this one. Or, I mean, I'm happy with I'm happy with like them dropping cards as well. They're on 9 this turn, so we have to be very cognizant of that next turn. It might be really hard to break through. It's going to be very hard. This 200 million volts Amaru is actually going to be pretty important to close out the game if the game does go too long. We'll go ahead and take this hit. We'll get a Hogback in the process. Hogback is a pretty good card because of the fact that when it is KO'd, it replaces itself with another body. Really rough turn. We'll just swing 5. We'll just poke him down. I think poking him down is our best bet. They're probably just going to block one of these and then counter out of another. They're giving us a ground death. Interesting to see that there. Maybe they are a little bit bricked up. They just block and draw. That's fine. We're going to feign that we have the 10 cost. We don't. But we're going to play a Hogback and we're going to play a Kuma. So that way we have a pretty wide board. Play the Kuma here. We could pitch out the Amaru. That might be a decent option. We don't necessarily need it. We're pretty far from using it, and we have one more in the deck as well, so I think it's fine. Because of the fact we have to be at 1 life in order to rest the blocker anyway. They'll get rid of the Nami. That's fine. We can't protect it. It is what it is. Here, fully expect the 5 Elders to come down. 5 Elders, of course, being able to play out all of these insane bodies. You know, the Mars being able to KO something, having 2 blockers, having a search, having a rush unit. It's just too good. Okay, so we actually can play this Kiku Nojo out based off of the Hogback because it is a on KO play a 4 cost with trigger. So, you know, we can play the Kiku Nojo out. Nice to see. And then we're going to be able to get another body out in the process. Hawkins is a pretty good one as well because of the fact that it will trash another life potentially. Okay, what do we do here? I think we just play the Kuma. I think we have 0 cards in hand. We don't care. All of our bodies have great effects. We have so much life. And they have to burn through this life, and the life is going to be able to put more bodies out. We're just going to continue to grind away at them. I expect, yeah, block after block after block. We're just going to hit them for a bunch of 7s, and with 4 cards in hand, it's going to be very difficult. We'll swing another 7 here and see if this goes through. Because of the fact that we don't want to like, just give them a free card here, I'm going to go into the body and see if they can give us more cards, and they do give us a Never Existed. They might have taken that last life, but here, if they decide to go after the Hawkins, then they lose that last life in the process, and we also could potentially draw into a 10-cost Big Mom. That's why I turned the attention into the Venus, I think is his name. We're just going to heal up. We are at 8 life right now, and maybe even more depending on what they do. Yep, 9 life right now. This is insane. We're gonna trash that last life, absolutely. Please, go for it. I think that they're probably not scared. We're going to put bodies on the field, though. I think having Hogback is good, just in case they decide to go for the Hogback to have another body come out. We'll use this to draw and trash. I think having a 10-cost Big Mom is fine. It's not the best use of our turn, but of course they can't get rid of it, and it's really hard for them to, unless they're running Stussy, which most decks have cut in general, it's hard for them to get rid of it. So I think it's fine to play as just a big body, and then just poke them down for a bunch of 5s, depending on what they do. Hopefully we get another trigger here. I don't exactly know what our life is at this point because we've just healed so much. They played 1, 2, and there's a 3rd one in trash, so there's 1 more 5 Elders, and we're at a pretty high life total. So we could just like grind out the game for another turn or so. I think we're in a good spot, actually. 7 into 5, we'll take this one. Kumasi, bringing out Hogback so that if they do get rid of these units, then, you know, we're fine. We'll swing 5. We'll swing. Every one of our units on KO does something, and that's what Emu probably hates. And I don't know if they have enough to get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 life because we're going to heal up with the Linlin. 5. They give us a 1K. We're going to go another 5. They might just block. Yeah, block is probably their best bet here, so they don't have to drop cards in the process. Oh, they give us ground death. Maybe they're a little bit scared here. Maybe they want to have as many bodies on the field. And we go up to 7, and it's going to be very difficult for them to close out the game this turn. This would be the last 10 Elders, or 5 Elders. They've played so many, they probably have 10 at this point, right? So 7 into 5, we're going to heal up. Go up to 8 life. Let's go, baby. We'll play out a Kiku Nojo, getting another trigger here. The 7 into 5, a Gecko Moria to bring out another Kiku Nojo. We're 5 wide, and I think we probably have the game at this point. Basil Hawkins to draw 2, trash 1. And at this point, yeah, they're just going to concede because of the fact that they can't break through. The last life is a 0-cost event, and we have a lot of attacks coming through that they're not going to be able to defend all of them. Insane triggers. Love to see this. All right, into Boa Hancock, I think I want to take second just because if we do find a 10-cost Big Mom, there we go. It'll be a solid play against them. This is a matchup that I really want to test this deck out, Katakuri against, because of the fact I can see what triggers they will have and maybe prevent something from coming out. And I think that's pretty important in this matchup. Of course, though, we are not really able to see in this turn, so I kind of want to take a risk. The fact that they didn't have something to stack the top life is pretty solid because of the fact that we're taking a little bit of a risk going into that first life, and we are not, at least guaranteed they're not, to have a body come out, but knowing Boa, there's likely a body. We'll go ahead and swing anyway, just to see, and we'll play out a Kiku Nojo. So if they do take it, which they did, we can play the Kiku Nojo and not worry about it being KO'd. It is a Shocky to be able to come out of life, so yeah, this is unfortunate that they did have a body. It is what it is, but it could have been worse. It could have been like a Gorgon Sisters. Here, I think what we do is we just give them a 1K, and then depending on what they do here, maybe we get a trigger. I think we just take this. Okay, Kumasi coming out, bringing a Hogback in the process. Do they go for the Hogback? I don't think so. Actually, it wouldn't be a bad thing, to be quite honest. We have nothing to bring out with it, so we'll protect it if we can. This might be, they pitched a 5-cost Boa Hancock, so maybe they have, I was going to say another one. This is a pretty good card. I don't see this being ran very often, but I think it's pretty solid. We'll go ahead and take this life. Basil Hawkins trigger to pitch and get a hog back into trash. Love to see it. They don't have a Dawn underneath their leader. So I was going to play Akuma this turn, but actually I'm going to focus attention to the board because we're not going to be punished for attacking their board. Let's go ahead and see what the top life is. It's Akuma. I'd love to see that. This will likely go down if the other one went down as well. This is really good. We're going to take advantage of the fact that they don't have a Dawn underneath their leader so that if these bodies go down, we don't get punished. 5 into lead here. They might give us a counter because they don't want to go down to 2 life. We'll play out another hog back. Knowing full well that the next life that they have is going to be a non-trigger, we can at least look at our own life this next turn. So pretty solid overall. 6 in the lead. I think we just give them a 2K here, and we'll have to take the Boa Hancock hit. They're being really aggressive, and I really appreciate that from them. I think that's probably the best play for them. We get another trigger here. Love to see it. Kuma coming down. Knowing that there is a Kuma at the 3rd life, we're pretty, at least in a good spot here. We'll go 5 in the lead. I think we just focus attention on being aggressive. We don't really care what this top life is too much. It's not a trigger. We love to see that. We know this next life is not a trigger also. Because we're at 8, we're actually going to play out the Moria and heal up, putting a Kumasi at the top of life so that we get a 2K counter back in hand. We put them down to 1 life, putting the Kumasi at the top. And then this turn, I would fully expect a 9-cost Boa Hancock to come down. Rip a life, heal 1 in the process, and then they could swing 5, 7, 7, or 5, 6, 7, 7. And that's pretty good. We don't have all the numbers to get rid of it. I mean, we could actually just counter out of a lot of these, though, if that's the case, and play the 10-cost Big Bomb as a follow-up. We have options. I'm a little bit scared, though, on our follow-up, because if they leave 1 open, it could be a... There's like an event. I forget what it's called. It's like stopping an attack if you are at 2 or less life. So we have to think about that. So maybe swing with the Moria first. Could be something if they don't heal here. Okay, we take the 7. They're thinking hard about what they're going to do here. They might have a 9 cost, but they might not think it's the best play overall. 7 into this hogback. I think we want a full board. I actually think I want to protect this unit. So let's go ahead and give them a 0-cost event. And if they decide to go after another board... Okay, so Kuma, interestingly enough. All right. They're healing going up to 2. They're swinging 6 into 5. I think we just give them a 2K counter just because if there is a trigger, it's kind of wasted because we have a full board already. And they do have 2 open. So let's go ahead and just swing 10 into 5 so we at least get this attack off with the Moria and then hope for the best at this point. We'll go ahead and play over the Moria. I know it sounds weird, but we want to get all of these swings off. We're going for game here. Is this the best play? Probably not, but I always want to play 10-cost Big Mom and trash a life. It always feels good if we can. And they're giving us 2Ks for these 5K swings, which is really strong. Slave Arrow on a 5K swing? Are you kidding me? All right, that's fine. We're good with that. We'll go 5 into 5. They'll give us a 1K, and then we'll go 6 into lead here. Hopefully we can counter... Wow, they didn't even have it? Oh my gosh. That is what you get for keeping these bodies alive and poking. We did have a beige the last life, but the rest of our life was pretty bad. So we might have gotten outclassed if they weren't able to counter out of that last swing. But swinging for 5s against Boa is pretty solid because of the fact that they might not just have counter. Okay, I'm actually kind of surprised. I didn't expect to get too many wins, and to be able to at least win against an Emu is, you know, an accomplishment in itself, since that is one of the most popular decks at the moment. Of course, Katakuri, you know, has always been a little bit of a nuisance for a lot of sets, and I think that we've forgotten about Katakuri in general, but he is just a generically good yellow leader, and as a result, you can run a lot of just generic yellow cards. And of course, run the 10-cost Big Mom in the process. Now, would I change anything with this deck list? Probably. This is not the most optimal deck list, of course. We're, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, running Thriller Bark Pirates. Would I want to run this as my main list for a Katakuri deck? Probably not, but I do think that there is some synergy that is worth running here. But overall, if you are wanting to make some adjustments to the deck list, you could run Blaze Slice instead of the 200 million volts Amaru. You have the option of running A-cost Kid, which I think is pretty strong in general. Being able to trash life is just a great effect. And also 6-cost Nico Robin is something that is really good too. Unfortunately, Rayleigh is not available for this deck because you are not multicolored. Unfortunate. It is a really good card and has a great trigger, but yeah, it's not one that I could include because I'm a single monocolor yellow deck. So it is what it is. But other than that, I think this deck list, you know, it's fine. I wouldn't like say it's an amazing deck list, but regardless, let me know in the comments below what you think about Katakuri and the OP14 meta. What spicy additions would you add to the deck list that I might not have considered? Let me know as well. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.